You know what's better than new Pokemon forms? Yup, that's right, new Pokemon evolutions. Hello and welcome everyone, Zen here with a brand new Pokemon Evolutions video, and this time it's the Psychic Edition, complementing our other two videos in the series, Dragon and Fighting type. But those of you who haven't seen those videos yet, it just means that all the Pokemon in today's video will be related to the Psychic type in some way. These new Pokemon designs also have some really creative signature abilities, so be on the lookout for those explanations. And a huge shout out to the artist who created these amazing designs, Ondu Region. Their links will be in the pinned comments down below, so definitely check them out for more top tier Pokemon designs. But with that, it's time to sit back, relax, get cozy, and let's dive right on in with our first new Pokemon evolution we need in Generation 10, and that's for Mime Jr., who I think definitely needs a branched evolution to complement his Mr. Mime. And with that, we've got Mrs. Styles, the psychic water type Pokemon. Now, the thing I love about this Pokemon is that it's always so happy, and it actually has different forms, or rather different bubbly hairstyles. This is its clown style, which you can consider its base form. Then we've got its nose style, aka Baldy over here, which honestly I'm totally rocking with. Then we've got the birthday style, which is great for special occasions. Or how about the long style, when you don't care how long your hair is? Or the most fun out of the bunch, and that's the twin tail style. Such a strong Pokemon design that has impeccable individuality to it. But how do you even evolve your Mime Jr. into a Mrs. Styles? Well, it's actually really easy. You just teach your female Mime Jr. a water type move and level it up. So something like Rain Dance should be more than useful. And as for her Pokedex entry, it says that Mrs. Styles will use any means necessary to put a smile on sad trainers' faces. Sometimes even going to the extremes of changing the styles of the bubbly hairstyle just to get a laugh. This commitment to the bit can often work against her and make Mrs. Styles seem quite vain and slightly irritating, which I think is just mean, you know? Just let her put a smile on your face, damn it. Now let's move on to a Gen 2 bird who honestly should have been a psychic type from the get-go, but better late than never, I guess. Introducing Cosmowl, the psychic flying type Pokemon. Now, I typically am not a fan of a solid white color design on a Pokemon, but this Cosmowl is the exception. With its gold accents, and to top it off, its shiny is just so good with the black and silver. I mean, I need to have it. But how do you even evolve your Noctowl into Cosmowl in the first place? Well, there's actually two ways. One, make sure your Noctowl lives 1,000 years of experiences and learns to reach a heightened level of enlightenment. Guess you better put it on a better diet. Or option 2, give it a Psychic Stone. Either way, Cosmowl here has two brand new signature abilities. The first being Intellectual, which boosts the damage of all of its psychic type moves by 50%. Or how about Warning Shot, which activates upon entering battle, and if the opponent has any moves that deal super effective damage, well then Cosmowl will cast a Future Sight instantly, even without the move being in its set prior, meaning this Pokemon technically has access to 5 moves at all times with this ability. And for the Pokedex entry, it says that Cosmowl has a massively high IQ and is capable of disobeying its trainer if it considers the order it was given to not be its best option. So badges don't mean squat to this bird brain. It's also capable of assimilating any information thanks to the eye on its head, which means it can learn everything instantly when presented with that information. It can also see into the future, and if it detects a threat, Cosmowl will project what it has seen for everyone nearby. Definitely an evolutionary upgrade for good old Noctowl. Next up is another branch chain evolution, and this time it's for this little feline. Now, instead of evolving into a menacing Purugly, you gotta worry about the new Pridefur, the normal psychic type Pokemon. Now, it may not look as bulky and threatening, but believe me, it is with its speed and high special stat. Your Glameow can evolve into a Pridefur at level 38 if it also has Hypnosis in its moveset. And this Pokemon also has the unique signature ability called Stunning, which fits the design almost perfectly. See what I did there? This ability reduces the evasion of opposing Pokemon by 1 stage at the end of every turn. Almost like a reverse speed boost that debuffs the opponents. Now for the Pokedex entry, it says that Pridefur are very arrogant and pretentious, and they hate dirty and messy places. And it will spin its tail to express disgust to nearby trainers. Pridefur will also prioritize cleaning itself before each fight, completely ignoring its trainer's commands until it has properly groomed itself. Man, these psychic Pokemon sure do like disobeying commands. Maybe a smart Pokemon isn't all it's cracked up to be. It can also hypnotize other Pokemon into doing its bidding, sometimes even hypnotizing its own trainer to stay out of its way while it beautifies itself. Man, is it just me? Or does Purugly seem less threatening now? Moving on to the next evolution, and that's for Beheeyem, a Pokemon who's actually one of my favorites. Introducing MIB, which is a corrupt abbreviation for Men in Black. Get it? MIB? Now this Pokemon is a Psychic and Fairy type, since I feel like Fairy types represent alien Pokemon the best. I mean, just look at the Clefairy line. For this evolution, I think having Beheeyem interact with an item like Terrestrial Artifact would be a neat way to express this evolution line. MIB also has its own unique signature ability, and that's Mystify, where its speed is doubled in misty terrain, which is pretty helpful with its less than stellar speed stat. Now for this Pokedex entry, it says that MIB's intelligence surpasses that of Pokemon like Alakazam or even Metagross, and they're also known for teaching humans to understand the language created by the unknown, which is why these Pokemon are typically seen with researchers and archaeologists. Looks like I need a career change because I totally want to catch one of these guys. Next up is the little bell who rang, Chimecho, and the evolution that might actually make this Pokemon worth catching. Introducing Bellity, the Psychic Steel type Pokemon. Now this Pokemon might look small and frail for its size, but this thing is heavy and very hard to move. The way you evolve your Chimecho into a Bellity is by leveling it up at a specific location, like a cathedral or even a trainer's school. And it's a pretty slow Pokemon, which is probably due to its weight, but it does get a rather interesting signature ability, and that's Resonator, where it turns all of its sound-based moves into stab steel type moves. So moves like Boom Bursts are going to hit way harder. And for the Pokedex entry, it says that Bellity can detect danger in advance, and when a catastrophe is approaching, it rings its bell to alert those nearby. And when it's upset, it can also shake its bell sharply, and the noise won't let anyone ignore it, often causing people to not sleep for an entire week. It's also said that at a certain hour in the morning, Bellity will ring its bell, briefly connecting the world of the living with the spiritual world. And well, considering my alarm clock needs replacing, I guess it's time to catch myself a Chimecho. Now let's look at one of the worst Generation 5 Pokemon and its brand new evolution that might actually make it good. And that's Monkrai, the Water Psychic type Pokemon. Now it took me a minute, but this Pokemon's design is extremely sharp. Its name is Monkey and Cry, and its classification is Monkey Tears. So when you look further at it, you'll notice its tears make a sort of meditation bead, which in honesty is a 10 out of 10 design. Like it can't get much better, can it? Oh, but it does, because you evolve your Simipour into a Monkrai when you level it up with the move Emotional Damage. No, seriously, Emotional Damage is a special psychic type move that Simipour can relearn from a special move tutor, and it does double the damage if the target is already afflicted with a status ailment. Definitely an improvement to this elemental monkey, that's for sure. And as for its Pokedex, it says that it keeps its hair wet so it can shine, and it uses its psychic powers to wave its hair because it loves to show it off. It is also capable of manipulating the water around it and controlling it as if it were an extension of its body. Ooh, waterbenders, anyone? Its psychic powers are also enhanced by emotions, and sometimes it gets carried away by empathy towards its opponents, which leads it to produce even more tears. So if you're adding this Pokemon to your team, make sure you bring a ton of tissues. And that brings us to our final evolution in today's video, and it's for a Pokemon that probably deserves it the most out of any previous Pokemon line, and that's Jynx. Introducing Glamour, the Ice Psychic type Pokemon, and I think I know exactly why why Jinx has never received an evolution like this prior. And that's because it couldn't find its Ice Tiara, which it obviously needs to evolve into a Glamour. Well, I'm glad that's the reason, and it's definitely nothing else. But once you give it the Ice Tiara, you'll get this brand new Pokemon with not one, but two signature abilities. The first being Cold Shoulder, which automatically activates a snowstorm whenever Glamour is hit with a move that deals contact. And Forewarn, which reduces all attacks with secondary effects accuracy by 20%. Definitely a competitively viable ability, that's for sure. And as for its Pokedex entry, it says that Glamour is capable of freezing the air around them, forming layers of frost simulating a shimmering cloth, which covers their entire body. They also adorn their dress with ice diamonds to simulate jewelry and style, because this queen knows how to sparkle. And Glamour also really enjoy being the center of attention wherever they go, showing off their dress and their beautiful hair. But be careful not to get too close to them, as they can mercilessly freeze you. Now tell me, which of these are your favorite Pokemon evolutions? And be sure to subscribe and check out one of these videos here next.